This evening, we're diving into a heated debate surrounding comedy, free speech, and corporate decisions. It all started with Jimmy Kimmel and a decision by ABC, owned by Disney, to temporarily pull his show. The move ignited a firestorm, with many, including some in the liberal media, coming to Kimmel's defense. The argument? That the First Amendment rights of a public speaker, be it an entertainer or journalist, should be protected. A key point that's often overlooked, according to some legal experts, is that having a broadcast license doesn't mean you lose your First Amendment rights. And the Supreme Court has been clear that the government cannot take away a license because of speech it doesn't like. However, others argue that while Jimmy Kimmel has the right to say whatever he wants, he does not have the right to say it on ABC. This brings up a critical distinction between free speech and corporate control. One guest pointed out that Kimmel's show was a ratings and financial drain for Disney, with some even joking that Mickey Mouse reruns bring in more revenue than Kimmel's nightly program. The conversation then took an unexpected turn when Kamala Harris weighed in on the controversy during a national interview. She framed the decision to reinstate Kimmel as a victory for the power of the people, suggesting that their checkbooks spoke volumes and moved the decision in the right direction. This statement, however, was met with skepticism, as critics pointed out that the show was reportedly losing money, not making it. One guest joked that Harris says a whole lot of nothing every time she talks, and that her comments were another example of her lack of coherence. The dialogue then shifted to the broader political landscape, with Harris labeling President Donald Trump a tyrant and accusing him of using the weight of the federal government to take out vengeance on his critics. These comments drew sharp criticism, with one guest expressing frustration with Democrats who tell us to turn the temperature down, and then continuing to compare Republicans to Hitler. The guest went on to say that every time Harris speaks, the Republican Party gains more voters. Finally, the discussion touched on the legacy of a political figure, with Ben Shapiro being quoted as calling Charlie Kirk a right-wing warrior. While acknowledging Kirk's partisan nature, others emphasized that he approached political combat with humanity. They described him as a figure who, despite being a partisan fighter, genuinely cared about those he disagreed with, wanting them to be better and happier. His legacy, they said, is not just his political views, but the way he engaged in debate with a level of compassion that is rarely seen today.